If you bought a DVD movie back in 2005, you'll get two CDs, a part one and a part two. Now, I don't know, it's probably because they didn't fit the whole movie in one CD. I don't know. I remember they fit a whole video game in one CD, Nintendo, or whatever that was. But if you bought a movie back in 2005, you'll get two CDs, a part one and a part two. I've talked about, you know, sleeping in the garage and getting robbed as a kid. You know, my mom had a store, and she made this garage into a room, and also a store. We called it tindahan, and it's a local store, your corner store. Instead of going to the supermarket, you go to your neighbors to grab salt, coffee, juice, your everyday thing. We got robbed. I had a Spider-Man TV. I had a Spider-Man CD that I would play in the store, and I would let the kids watch behind the gates because we had a gate. And the problem was I would play the whole movie all day because we didn't have cable on the TV in the garage, but the TV that we had inside the house, it was a little bit further from the door, and the rule was they can't come inside the house. So I would play Spider-Man on one TV, and to satisfy the customer, I would play Dragon Ball Z or cable TV on the living room. And you know, parasitic relationship, it starts slow. You know, Rome didn't fall overnight. They say that Rome wasn't built overnight, but it didn't also fall overnight. If you watch Jocko Motivation, you know what I'm saying. It starts slow, a little slip up here and there, a little miscommunication, a little ignorance. You know, your intuition said something to you and you ignore it. And that's what happened. Slowly by surely, they started coming inside the house, scoping the place. And one morning, you know, we had the flood, and it was a blackout. Yo, how do you get robbed during a blackout and a flood? But that's what happened. We woke up one morning. My mom checked the gate, and it was broke. The lock was open. We had a teeny-peeny lock. This was before we got the master lock. We had an itsy-bitsy lock that we locked the gate with, and they broke it. They still put the lock back, but it was already broken. It was open. And they took two of our TVs, a DVD player, I think my Nintendo games. I can't remember. But funny enough, you know, 6 months later, it was Christmas. You know, we celebrate Christmas in September. The Christmas Carol kids shows up in your gate begging for money, you know, to buy their mom's Christmas presents. Fireworks start showing up. We celebrate Christmas and New Year's all together, but it starts on September. I don't know why. Capitalism. Funny enough, 6 months later, that kid that I had suspicion of, the one who robbed us, him and his cousin, they were playing fireworks outside, and I heard the story, but I did see him 6 months later, and I saw his finger, and he was doing the Spider-Man shit. You know, it's funny how karma works. But that's not a funny story. That's something serious. And I tell that story because, you know, trauma. I've been talking to Meta AI lately. We're out of pandemic. We're able to socialize, but I'm still have that antisocial tendency to spend time with myself, especially now that I'm a dad and I'm giving up more of my time and myself towards the family and the job and life. And it's taking away from the things that I want to do. And the things that I want to do are not that important. I'll be honest, you know, it's taking a nap, it's taking a shower, it's fucking wasting time on the phone. Just like on anybody, every normal, average human being. That's what I want. I just want to be normal. But I tell this story and I tell this analogy because trauma is like watching the first half of the movie and losing the part two. You know, it's not until you watch part two that you understand the whole movie. And now the beginning, now that you've seen the end, part one doesn't look so, you know, it changed the whole story. It flips the script. But it's not until you put that part 2 CD that you get the whole picture. And I talk about in this channel how that's my creativity, how my creative process is like that I create something, I let it sit, and then I come back, or it goes dead, you know. Maybe I forget about it completely, but maybe I won't. Maybe it'll resurface 10 years later in my life, depending on how intense the information is, how useful it is to the human condition. I'm sorry if I'm making that face. I'm trying to be serious, but I'm filming this thing in the garage, and I don't want any family members walking in. Kind of like how I made my first mixtape. I still have that on this channel. But understanding the full story, trauma is like the first part. I did not say this. The meta AI said this shit. But trauma is like only having the first part of your life and not living the second part. And it's not until you get the full scope. But it's still the same movie. You know, the story doesn't change. It's just a different meaning now. That's what I'm trying to get at.